Welcome to week 5 of the Udacity Android Developer Nanodegree. This week I'm just going to go over a few tips and tricks for your project 2, the popular movies project. So it should be pretty short and sweet. So if you have any questions or anything, we'll have time for those afterwards. So the first thing I wanted to make you aware of, if you're not already, is in using Android starter projects to learn how to do things. So when you go through this pane, so I clicked on File, New, and then New Project, and this screen comes up. And say you want to learn one of the things that the new project gives you. So for instance, you want to learn how to do a bottom navigation activity, or this one a lot of people are using in their popular movies, and how to do a menu with the 3 dots. Or if you want to do tabbed navigation or a scrolling activity or something. So say you don't know how to do a menu to switch between the top rated movies and the popular movies. If you just create like a blank project, like just an example project, I'll keep the defaults. So if we look at the main activity, it shows us what we need to, there it is. It shows us what we need to create that menu. So it gives us the overridden methods on create options menu and on options, of course. There we go. On options item selected method. And then it gives us an example on what to do within the on option. So in on create options menu, we basically are just inflating the menu. We're making it visible on the activity. Then in on options item selected method, we're doing whatever we need to do with the different menu items. So for instance, if our menu item is action settings, for this one, we're just returning true, but you would put your logic in there. So if you wanted to launch another activity, you'd create an intent and then do start activity, passing in the intent. So that's the one part of it. And then within values, in menu, there's a menu folder, and then in that we have our menu items. So we just have our one item, the action settings, and we saw that in our main activity. We referred to the action settings there. So just keep in mind, like, Android has a lot of starter projects that do things out of the box for you. And if you want to be able to use that in another project that has starter, that you downloaded the starter code from Udacity, or you're implementing in another project that you can't start a new project, just create a dummy project, look at what they're doing, and then copy it or whatever in your project. And then the next tip is one of the things you're required to do in the movie app is make sure that all your strings, like any strings you use throughout your app, you need to make sure that they're in the strings.xml. So you can see, like, there's just a default app, it gives you two strings for this one. So say we added a text view to our layout. And the text is text view. If you would submit this with the text hard coded like this in the layout, if you submitted this for your app for Udacity, this would be kicked back to you, rejected. You'd have to fix this. So what we need to do is put this text in the strings.xml and then refer to it here. So we could do the long way, create a, copy this line, create a whole new string, name it, whatever, or we could press Alt and Enter, and it gives us the option to extract the string resource, meaning extract it, the hard-coded string, and put it in strings.xml. So I'll just click on Extract String Resource, and then it gives us, asks us what we want to use for the resource name. So that would be, let's see if it will let me click on strings. It won't. So in the strings.xml, you need to name to call this string by. So we'll just use my string, and then it wants to know what the string actually is. So I'll say my string, and then source set, keep it at main, and then strings.xml. Say OK. So it's now referring to it with the @ sign. So @string at my string, and then it put it in the strings.xml using the name I provided, my string, and the actual string is my string. So that should make it a little easier, rather than going back and forth between strings.xml and your layouts and stuff. You just Option Enter or Alt Enter, depending on whether you're on a Mac or PC. Next tip is, so one of the things we have to deal with is, in this app, is a pretty huge JSON file. So these are the movies that get returned. This is the API URL that we need to use for the popular movies, and then I added my API key. So this is what it returns. It's really hard to make out what's in there. Like I could search for vote count to find out where all the objects begin and stuff, but that's just ugly. So what we can do is prettify the JSON. And there's a number of sites out there that do this. Here's one of them. If we go to jsonprettyprint.com, all we have to do is enter the JSON into the text box and click the button. So I'll copy, paste it in there, and we click pretty print the JSON, and it makes it so much easier to read and work with. So you can see at a glance what the movie names you should be seeing, what properties they have on each movie, all that stuff. So that just makes life a little easier when dealing with JSON. And like I said, if you Google for JSON pretty or JSON prettifier or something like that, you'll find a number of sites that do that. Let's see. And along those same lines, one of the things you need to do in this project is work with parselables. The parsable object, you have to implement that on your movie object, on your movie class. And there's a very, very easy way of doing that. So if we go to parcelblur.com, what we can do is if we had our movie class done for the project, we could just paste it in here, click build, and it would parcelable it. That's a hard word to say. So let's take this sandwich. So from the last project, we had our sandwich class, which it gave us in the starter code. So if I copy that and paste that in here, and pasting it in here does all the work for us. So we have our properties, just like in the original. We have our empty constructor. We have our constructor for each, that includes each property. All the getters and setters, that's included in the original. Oops, down here. So same thing. It implements the parcelable for us. Gives us the properties, the no arg constructor with all the properties, getters and setters. And then at the bottom, it adds all the parcelable stuff. So it gives us a constructor that passes in a parcel. It overrides the method describe contents for us, overrides the method write to parcel, and does all the work for us for each of the properties. And then gives us the parcelable.creator method with the sandwich. So then we take that, copy that, paste it back into our file, and we have it. We can parcelable it for passing from the main activity to the details activity. And then the last hint, this is a hint that I have. If you're, let's see, let me change something. If your app looks like this and you can't get the images to, or you can't get rid of you can't get the images to expand the full width of your grid, I won't tell you how to do it, but I'll say check out, where can I put it? Adjust view bounds property for your layout. This will allow your images to expand to the width of your of the grid. So it'll turn from that to that. So a lot of people are stuck on that. So that's one of the answers to it, probably the easiest answer to getting that to that. And that's all I have for this session. Like I said, it was going to be short and sweet. So I will see you guys in Slack then. Thanks for attending. Talk to you guys later.